Hi everybody, I'm Ryan Kim, America's best friend. Today I'm in Vergennes, Vermont with Rebecca Freedner. She is a henna queen, and we're going to talk about the world of henna. Most of us Americans know henna as a temporary art form that you put on your skin, found usually at music festivals or other sort of public events. Henna is an increasingly popular art form, sometimes referred to as a temporary tattoo, but Rebecca would be the first to tell you that it is not a tattoo.
No, we avoid that word.
Tattoo is a taboo in the world of henna.
That's good.
Okay. Here are a few things you may not know about henna. Henna is actually a plant originally. It's called the henna plant, and it does not come from India, which is sort of a common misunderstanding. It originally came from North Africa, and then is a plant that sort of grew and spread through Europe, the Middle East, India, South Asia, and even Russia, right?
Yeah, we have many Russian henna artists.
So the process of making henna is that you collect these leaves off of the henna shrub, which is basically, it's like a small tree. You dry it out, you grind it up into a powder, and then artists like Rebecca will mix it into a paste using basically a secret recipe of their own design. And so that includes lemon juice, essential oils, sugar, tea, water, a lot of love. And then what you end up getting is a paste that you put into tubes and that you can then apply onto your skin. And it will last on your skin as sort of a decorative piece for about a week until your skin naturally exfoliates. Now, Rebecca she's very humble, and she will not be the person to brag for herself, so I will. She is widely known. As proof of this, she's got almost 70,000 followers on her Instagram, which I think speaks both to the size of the henna scene as well as Rebecca's recognition as a henna queen. And I can't get enough of that. Henna queen, henna queen. Rebecca, can you just tell us how you got into henna?
Sure. It was about 11 years ago, and I was at a street fair here in Vermont, and I stumbled upon a woman offering henna at her booth, and it's something that had always fascinated me, but not something that I knew was accessible here in Vermont. So I pretty much threw myself at her, and the whole experience was super disappointing. Her work was disappointing, her demeanor was disappointing, So I left feeling like the experience was lackluster and I wanted more. And really that same day I thought, I'm going to figure out how to do this myself. I want to have a different experience with it, more fun. I think that it could look more beautiful. So that's how it all began.
So a few years ago, in the world of henna, Rebecca's composition style was really recognizable.
Totally.
And then what ended up happening, right, is that people loved it so much that they started adopting it and they started riffing off of it, and now it's become almost so ingrained in the American henna culture.
It's like a generic style now.
So something else is that you have really helped popularize henna, and now you're sort of seen as maybe a henna elite, like an OG henna artist. But something that that has really struck me about you is that you are self-taught, and that you really care about keeping it accessible for people.
I do. I think I was really lucky to begin what I did before social media is what it is today. I didn't have the pressure or the creative competition. My experience was falling in love with the art form completely in isolation, in a vacuum. And so I really got to express myself.
You were never intimidated.
I was never intimidated. I didn't know how bad my work was, which is great because I just kept going. I just loved doing it. I loved sitting with my kids or my neighbors or my friends, and it delighted me, and that's how I got to this point.
I see.
And so I think over the years, and especially with social media, there's been a lot of focus on henna as an art form, and I think it's been elevated to sort of this fine art form in a lot of sense, in a sense.
Sure.
And I got a little caught up with that a few years ago. I was going to a lot of conferences. People were very interested in learning my techniques so they could emulate my work, and not just mine, of course. There are many other amazing artists out there creating amazing
but we're talking about you.
But we are, yeah. Yeah, we are. So And I did that, and I did get caught up in it, and it sort of became, you start to cling to that as your identity. Like, okay, this is what I do. I create this amazing, unparalleled style, and I got really bored with it. And I started to feel like there were so many people who were interested in henna, but were completely intimidated by the level of work that was being churned out by people and, shown on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
So Rebecca, one of the nice things then that came out of this is that you merged your position in this very creative field with some entrepreneurship. You started selling henna kits, right? And this is your way of supporting yourself as an artist, but also of ensuring the everyday person who cares about henna, the henna enthusiast, the henna hobbyist, can have access to something that is a really high quality product to use in their own homes.
Right.
I guess what I love is that you are both sort of in this position where you are the intimidator, but on the same level, that's just you expressing something that you love, and you want to give back and in some way say like, look, I had the benefit of going to this vacuum, you don't, but go ahead and dabble.
Yeah, please. Yeah, absolutely. And when I bring my programs to schools or Basin Harbor or wherever I am, that's the first thing I say is forget everything you've ever seen, every photo you've ever looked at of henna, and just enjoy the process of sitting with your friend or a stranger who's at the table with you and put henna on them and just see what the experience is like.
Get messy and
let the expectations go. And it was recently that we have these tools that allow us to create such fine and refined work. It used to be totally rudimentary. It was, a pot of henna applied with the fingertip or dipped. That's what it was. And the magic was wearing the stain of the plant. It wasn't like, how beautiful or how perfect the lines were or how centered or how symmetrical. It just wasn't about that. And so I feel like the more we focus on the perfection of the design, the more we lose the magic of simply wearing the stain of an ancient plant that's been gracing the hands of women for thousands of years. Okay,
well, what do you say we do some henna?
Let's do it.
Okay. So a lot of people want to know, is henna dangerous? The answer, henna. Get it? Like, henna. Thanks again for watching another episode of America's Best Friend. Please check out my Patreon page and consider becoming a supporter of this project.